Taraxippos is my favorite scout rifle in Destiny 2, and it just got even better. I do not want you to miss out on the perks for the right god roll because mine has been in constant rotation since last year's Guardian games, and I don't even like scouts. See, that's the thing. Taraxippos is not a scout rifle. Taraxippos is a sidearm, and I think if you're using Taraxippos as only a scout, you are missing out. The stats, perks, recent Crucible damage buff, and the new perk pull for this year are all telling you that this weapon was built for the mid-range. So even if you don't like scouts, here's why you need a Taraxippos and what perks to look out for during this year's Guardian games. First, Taraxippos has my favorite intrinsic perk in the game, being a lightweight weapon. Outside of exotics or getting amplified in an arc subclass, running a lightweight weapon is the only way to run faster in Destiny 2. Higher mobility won't do it, but this lightweight frame will give you 50% of an arc speed boost for free. This scout is built for getting into the action. The stats on Taraxippos completely complement the playstyle as well. It has some of the worst range and zoom out of the other lightweight scouts, but it stands above the rest in just about every other category. Stability, handling, reload speed, and aim assist. Specifically stability though. Along with Pleiades Corrector, Taraxippos has 7 to 10 more stability than any other lightweight. This stability stat, this right here, is what we're going to be leaning into, so remember that the natural stats are already showing us where to optimize. Then Taraxippos takes things a step further than Pleiades Corrector with better recoil direction and airborne effectiveness. Y'all, this is just an all-around amazing lightweight scout rifle in every stat except for that range and zoom. But listen, you don't need those. Range is not the strength of this weapon, it's just a bonus that comes with Trax being a scout rifle. It'll reach out as far as most Crucible engagements happen no matter what this stat looks like. On top of the stats, Bungie also just gave lightweights a new 5% damage buff. This is in addition to the crit damage being raised to match the new sandbox health amount, so you can now 1 body and 3 crit any resilience level. Previously you could only do that up to 5 resil, now it's only 75% precision accuracy, making it easier to get on target in closer mid-range engagements. Now, why we're really here, the perks. Leaving the perk pool from last year's Guardian games are No Distractions, Outlaw, and Offhand Strike, and honestly, good riddance. Offhand Strike was awful on Taraxippos, and we've got plenty of new and better things to make up for No Distractions and Outlaw leaving. I mean, these new perks are better than what I was hoping for. I was looking for Discord in here, but instead we got Eye of the Storm, Enlightened Action, and Precision Instrument, along with Keep Away being moved to the 3rd column. These perks, y'all, this is perfect, and here's why. Hopefully it'll help you pick which of the god rolls I'll lay out in a minute. Also, if you like this kind of in-depth guide to weapons, let me know by hitting that like or subscribe button. We're getting so close to 50,000, so seriously, thank you for that. Okay, first up, we've got Eye of the Storm. Everybody is pretty much on board with Eye of the Storm being an amazing perk, but it plays so well into the way I use Taraxippos as a sidearm, thanks to Cascade Point. I'll cover PvE and a more normal way to use a scout in PvP with the new perks, but Cascade Point is what makes Taraxippos a long-range sidearm, and what will benefit most from the new perks. After getting a kill with a different weapon, or just hitting several crits, you swap to Taraxippos and your RPM goes from 200 to 333. It is insane if you've never used it. And I found that you really need as much control as you can get when you're using this perk. You're going to want to hit crits because this speed brings your TTK to 0.54 seconds. And if you stack it with Radiant and all 3 Surge mods, you could even hit a 3 crit, 0.36 second TTK up to 6 resil thanks to that new 5% lightweight buff. But most of the time you're going to be hitting that 0.54 seconds on any class, and it happens all the time, so still just amazing. To emphasize how important it is you grab one of these, if you're still unsure about all this, I will tell you Taraxippos is the best weapon I have ever used Cascade Point on. For the range, the accuracy, the time to kill values, there's nothing like it. If you're ever going to use this perk, this is the weapon to do it on. All that said, you still want as much accuracy as you can get on it. That's why on the old god roll, I chose Moving Target over Zen Moment. Zen Moment has to ramp up, and while it reduces reticle bounce, I felt like that just didn't matter on Taraxippos to me. The accuracy and aim assists mattered more, so Eye of the Storm up to minus 40% accuracy cone size and minus 17% accuracy cone growth is a huge buff when procced. Since we're using Trax as a sidearm, our alternative weapon if you will, then we are probably weak from the engagement we were just in to activate Cascade Point. So you'll have that extra handling bump from Eye of the Storm to whip out the scout and all the accuracy that comes with it. What an amazing perk to pair with Cascade, and it wasn't even on my radar. One thing that was on my radar was Keep Away, which was previously in the 4th column and you couldn't pair it with Cascade Point. Now you can, and it offers -5% accuracy cone growth just for being 15 meters away from an opponent. Not as strong as Eye of the Storm, but it'll be active even if you have full health, give you some extra range, and I could see lots of people choosing this over Moving Target. Zen Moment, Moving Target, and Gutshot Straight are all still here. One thing cool about Gutshot Straight now, it basically nullifies the health and body shot changes to the Crucible, allowing you to miss as many crits as you could before without much punishment. That'll help out a lot if you're hitting tons of body shots with Cascade Point active. Moving Target is still really good, but I think the new perks are going to perform better for how I use Taraxippos. That said, if you're not using Cascade Point, Precision Instrument over here will benefit from Zen Moment since it's ultra important to hit those crits. On its own, Precision Instrument won't do anything for Taraxippos, but if you plan on using Radiant to buff your initial engagement, you'll now have a 3-shot at 0.6 seconds against any Resil level. If it wasn't for that 5% lightweight scout buff, it would only be up to 9 Resil, but that buff is going to make this a solid option if you do like the longer, more normal scout rifle engagements. In PvE, you still got 4 times the charm, Gutshot Straight, Kill Clip, Focus Fury, Hatchling, and Explosive Payload. But no matter how you choose to run it, the new perk that shines through the most is Enlightened Action. Okay, let's say you want to run Cascade Point in PvE. You get a kill, swap to this weapon, and nail off 4 shots to quickly take down something. In just 4 shots, Enlightened Action puts your handling at 100 and reload speed at 99. You can reload and stow this weapon ridiculously fast and move on. A very fun playstyle, but it doesn't end with just Cascade. You could use Precision Instrument to lay into an opponent for high damage or Hatchling to play into the Strand Verbs as well. It will all play into Enlightened Action perfectly because you're going to be hitting these shots and you're gonna want that fast reload speed. Doesn't even have to be crits. Speaking of not hitting crits, Gutshot Straight is just a flat 20% buff to any body shots you miss crits on in PvE. An Explosive Payload is basically a 15% damage buff to any body shots you hit. So you can stack them together to hit a 38% buff and nearly be hitting crit damage every time you miss that crit. It's like the ultimate forgiveness for the inaccurate player, and I can appreciate that. Okay, now how do we spec out the rest of Taraxippos? What are the god rolls? For PvP, go for stability. I'm telling you, I've played around with this a lot. I tried all the range rolls. I tried going for strictly recoil control, but no, stability is what made Taraxippos feel great. Counterbalance helped a lot too, so no matter which roll you go with, I'd use that mod. For the rest, Chamber Compensator for a bit of recoil control with the stability was my favorite, but Corkscrew, Polygonal, and Smallbore would all be fine. Aim for a stability masterwork and then accurize rounds to top it off with a bit of range. Steady rounds was alright, but it didn't feel necessary to push it that far. If you run my way and go Cascade Point for the long range sidearm, Moving Target is the solid option. Keep Away might help even a touch more, but Eye of the Storm is going to be my ultimate god roll. Looking through my clips, the amount of times I engage for Cascade Point and am low on health is ridiculous. More than any other weapon I could use this with. You are going to want to push in and use that perk, and now you have a huge buff when you do so. What an excellent pairing. Don't forget about the origin trait Amalon Fluid Dynamics either. I highly recommend running this over Classic Contender for Cascade Point since it will give you up to 20 stability at the top of the mag. In other words, when you have Cascade Point active. We're already speccing into stability and now we're almost maxing it. I'm going to be grinding Guardian games so hard for this role. If you're worried about too many body shots with Cascade Point in the new sandbox, go for Gutshot Straight. Lean into the sidearm aspect and just don't worry about the changes to PvP. You can bypass it and have fun. If you're going to run this out of the box with Precision Instrument for that 0.6 second 3-tap all Radiant, I would run all these perks exactly the same, but I'd emphasize Zen Moment in the third column with Keep Away and Moving Target as alternatives. Eye of the Storm is probably not going to come into play on this one. For PvE, I'd look out for Enlightened Action in that third column, and then run Small Bore, Accurized, and maybe a Range Masterwork. You'll be hitting 100 range and handling all the time with Enlightened Action, and that'll let you focus on range and stability in the other columns. Personally, I'm pairing this with Cascade Point because it's really fun. And this season, we've got unraveling rounds from orbs and then threadlings coming out of your unraveling kills. It's just a blast, but I can see the appeal of going for Precision Instrument or Kill Clip for pure damage. I gotta mention too, I had all that stuff proc in Trials this weekend, Unraveling Orbs and Horde Shuttle from the Artifact mod, and all those Strand Verbs combined and just ended my 1v3. I didn't even have to engage the opponent, the Strand stuff did it. from only 3 shots of Taraxippos. Okay, back to PvE. I do want to point out the gut shot straight and explosive head combo we mentioned in the perks, a flat 38% buff to all body shots in PvE. If you go that route, you're gonna have to pick up the reload speed and handling elsewhere, so look for fluted barrel, flared magwell, and a reload masterwork. All in all, I don't think much has changed for PvE here. Really surprised to not see slice on the perk menu, but we saw huge perk upgrades to the PvP section, and I want to end this video saying do not pass up the chance to get a Taraxippos. It is in my top 3 favorite PvP primaries this past year. I absolutely love it. I'm not hyping this up. Anytime there's a large map, I'm off my sidearm and I'm on my Taraxippos. If you have one, do you enjoy it as much as I do? Let me know in the comments below. This has been LEGO LaFlash. Until next time, GG.